Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome back to learn-automation.com. This is Mukesh. Today in this video we are going to talk about list in Java, how this list works, what is ArrayList, and how to implement this. So let me get started what exactly we are going to cover in this video. So we'll talk about what is list, what is ArrayList, and most important why we are going towards ArrayList even if we have arrays in Java, right? Then why we are going towards ArrayList. Then we'll talk about how to create our own list, how to write some data, how to put some values inside that list. Then we'll see how to retrieve that values using three different methods. So we'll talk about three different ways: for loop, enhanced for loop, and iterator. Then we'll also perform some other operations like adding, deletion, and so on. And again, very important, what is generics in Java? Okay, so this is one of the most important questions in interviews as well, like what is generics in collection or what is uh, generics in array. So we'll talk about this in detail. But before starting this video, I will recommend you to watch my array video because we have covered array in detail, and if you go through that array video, then only you will get to know what was the limitation with array. So I will summarize first what exactly the limitation we have in array. So now if you talk about array, we have the type and size problem. Why I say type problem, so let's consider uh, you want to take some values or you want to take some data from the student registration form. So the data might will come into different format, right? So now let's say you're taking username, password, or you're taking phone number, addresses. So each data will be of different type. So let's consider I want to take their phone number, so it will be long type of array. If I want to take their name, it will be string array. I want to take their gender, then again I have to take character array. If I take M or F, right? So based on the data I have to define my type of that array. So if I have to take the complete data of the student registration form, I have to maintain 5 or 6 type of array, which is very difficult to maintain, correct? Now the most important part of any array or array list is the size. When you create array, you have to define the size of the array, right? So if you want to take the data of 10 students, you have to create array of 10. If you have to take uh, 20 students data, then you have to create array of 20, right? So which is also very difficult because the data is growing dynamically. You cannot limit the size because you should have certain I will say capability that the data should grow dynamically, right? So just because of these issues, in Java 1.5, they introduced a new topic called collection. So what is collection now? Before jumping into ArrayList, you should know the background from where this topic is coming and from which topic this ArrayList belongs to. So we have a separate topic in Java called collection. As the name suggests, collection, we can collect certain values, we can collect certain data or objects. Okay, so it's a dynamic data structure. When I say dynamic, it means you don't have to depend on the size. It will grow dynamically. Okay, based on your data, it can accept the values and it will keep accepting until your memory is not filled. So dynamic data structure, it takes memory from the heap memory. So until your heap memory is not full, it can accept the data. So you will see in a couple of minutes once I will start writing the program, I will give n number of value and it will accept. Well, it added in after Java 1.5. So currently we're using Java 8, so you will get this collection. Before Java 1.5 also we had this topic but with a different name. Since we're Java 8, so we'll focus only on the collection. So if you ask me technical definition, collection in Java is just a framework that will provide you an architecture to store and manipulate the group of objects. So why I'm saying the group of objects, when we say objects, you can manipulate or store anything. You don't have to give the data type. So by default, collection consider everything as an object. So it is a collection which will provide you an architecture or environment to store and manipulate the group of objects. Plus it will also provide you a couple of operations like which you can perform your data. Like if you want to search certain data, sort, insertion, or sorry, ascending order, descending order, so you can do this sorting. Plus you can insert the value, update the value, delete the value, and so on using Java collections. Plus they have given very handy methods which will help you to do all this operation. You don't have to write the typical code. If you don't use collection, you have to write the code by own. But why to write so much of code if already we have such kind of framework, right? So now, in other words, Java collection simply means of single unit of objects. Sorry, it's yeah. So the collection framework which we are going to talk about, it has so many interfaces. So these are the interfaces: list, set, queue, and dequeue. Okay, and these are the classes which we have. It's called ArrayList, vector, linked list, priority queue, hash set, linked hash set, and tree set. So we're going to talk about list and ArrayList today. We'll also talk about other interfaces and classes in detail in the upcoming videos. So you can see we also have vector class. So vector class, it's not part of Java 1.5. It was there also before Java 1.5. So now if you see this hierarchy, if you don't get confused with this, on top you can see a collection interface. Collection interface also have a couple of methods, and as we know, interface does not have any body, right? It has so many methods, but each method will be empty. It does not have any body. So in collection we have set interface and list interface. Okay, so just forgot about the set part. Let's focus on the list. So in the list we have three classes which implements all the method of list. Okay, so I will show you the methods of list and collection both, and these are the classes which implements all the method of these interfaces. So linked list, vector, and array list. So in today's videos we are going to talk about array list only. Okay, yes, you need to remember this: collection is an interface, list is an interface, but you can see at the bottom these all are the classes which implements all the method of these interfaces. So list is an interface and ArrayList is a class which will implement all the method of list. So let me cover this theory part. I will show you the program, then you will get the better understanding. So what is ArrayList? First of all, Java ArrayList is a class which use a dynamic array for sorting the values or storing the values. Java ArrayList can store the duplicate element. So let's say if I enroll myself twice, it can accept the value. If I give my name twice, it will accept. So for this we have set. Set does not allow duplicate values. That is the difference between list and set. So we'll talk about set in detail in the upcoming videos. As of now, I will show you if you give values twice, thrice, it will keep accepting the values, which is not good, but let's see. So as the name says, ArrayList, array, if you know, it works on indexes, right? It is store value based on the indexes. So ArrayList also works in the same manner. It will maintain your insertion order. So you can retrieve any value based on the index. So let's say if I want fifth value, I can provide index 4 and it will return me the fifth value because index will start from 0. So I can retrieve any value which I want based on the indexes. Now this is like in depth. ArrayList is little bit slow. Why? Because it has to shift, it has to change the indexes based on your value. So let's say I have 0 to 100th value, and if I want 58th, it will start with 0, right? So it will take some time from 0 to 58 or the respective value. So ArrayList is slow. So that's the reason we have the different interfaces, set and map. So now you can understand why it is slow. It has to shift from 0 till you are not getting your value. Plus, in other words, if you have to remove any value, so first it will search that value, it will remove, then it will update the indexes as well, right? So let's say if I have value at index number 50, so if I delete that value, that list has to be updated. So when it will do the shifting, it takes some time. So we will not be able to see, like, because uh, the shifting happened internally, and it happens very fast. But when you have the large amount of data, you will notice ArrayList is little bit slow. So let me show you the program and you will enjoy this. So let me create one package. So I'm assuming you must be having Eclipse and your Java project ready. So I'm going to create one new package, and this package name I will give list demo. Then I will create a separate class called ArrayList demo. Then I will take this public static void main, click on finish. Okay. So first of all, you need to understand list, array list, and collection is coming from a separate package called java.util. Okay, util stand for utility, utility stand for like frameworks which they already have. So if you just type array list, okay, and press control space, you can see it's showing me all the suggestions which start with ArrayList. So ArrayList demo is the class which we created today. Now ArrayList, this is the description of this ArrayList. So whatever we discussed just now, it has all the information. If you are interested, just go through it in one line. If you can understand, it's a resizable array implementation of the list interface which implement all the operation. Okay, so let's create object of it. You can see it is asking you generic, so as of now you can ignore this. We'll come to this point. As we know how to create objects in Java, in the same way I will create object of ArrayList class. So I will say obj1 equal to new ArrayList. So now our object is created. It means now we have a dynamic array which can store n number of values. So let me start adding the values. So now ArrayList have some predefined methods which will help you to do all the operations. So if you put dot operator, you can see they have all these methods. So add, as the name says, it will add the value in that particular list. And thanks to Java, they provide the description of each and every method. So it will append the specific element to the end of this list. If your list is empty, in our case, yes, it will start with a 0. So you can see now it is asking you give me the value, and one thing to notice, it is asking you everything as an object. Why it is asking as an object? Because we have not given the generics, so it will consider each and everything as an object. So let me start with integer or any number. So let's consider this is 4 number. Okay, then let's consider this is as character. Then let's add certain string. So string I will say, let's say Selenium WebDriver. So you can see it is not giving me any error because if it is considering everything as an object. So for ArrayList it is also object, M is also object, and the string also is an object. Let me store one more value which is kind of double. So 12.34, and you can see it is not giving me any restriction of size. I can add n number of values. So now type is not an issue, size is not an issue, you can add any kind of values. So if you see here, apart from add, we also have method size. If you want to check whether how many elements we have inside the list, size, iterator. If you want any specific value, you can pass the index. If you want to check whether this list is empty or not, it will return you true and false. If it is empty, it will say true, otherwise false. Apart from this, you can convert into an array, you can add from the different collection, and so on. You can also replace any value, you can short this, you can trim, and so on. So as of now, this is the value, and how can I retrieve this value? We'll see in the second program. So let me write a out statement, and if I pass the obj1 object, you will see it will print all the values in a statement format. Okay, so right click, run as Java application, and you can see it is returning all the value in a very specific manner. So as one thing to notice, it is returning based on the insertion order. So we inserted 7878 first, then gender and the name and the double value. So it maintains an index order. So based on the insertion order, it will update the index and it will return the value. Now if I don't want all the values, I can also specify I want the third value, obj1 dot get of 3. It means I want the fourth value because index starts with 0. If I comment this, see, it is returning the fourth value. Correct? Now if you try to retrieve some value which is not there, then definitely it will throw some runtime exception, right? Because we are trying to access illegal memory which we have not allocated. So we have seen two methods: add method, which will definitely add the values; get will get the value. If you directly pass the obj, it will return all the values which we have. Now this is how you can add and store the values. Now if I want all the values using a loop, then let me create a copy of it. So if you don't want value one by one, you can also run a for loop which will return you all the values. An important point, as I said, list will allow duplicate values. So if I add this value twice, it will return you that value as well. So cross check, if you just pass obj1, but this is not the case with set. Set will only allow the unique values. Now let's start with a very basic method, for loop. If I want to run a for loop, so first of all I have to know the size of this, right? So we have one predefined method obj1.size, which will return you size of this list, and definitely it will return you as an integer. So I will say my list size. Now I can run a for loop which will start with I equal to 0, and it will go till the number of till the size of my list, and each time we will increment by 1. If you are new to this for loop, then you can visit my previous video where. Now we got the size, so we also know the method, get method, to retrieve the value. So I will just say obj1 dot get, and I will pass the index. So index I'm providing I because I is a variable that will increment every time, and I will print one message here. I will say values from ArrayList. Right click, run as Java application, and you can see it's returning all the values. I'm giving print ln, so it is giving in the new line. So how it works, if you put one breakpoint here, right click, debug as Java application. Okay, so till you reach here, you will have your collection ready. So now program is stepped at line number 21. So at this line we have our obj1 ready. So if you put mouse over on obj1, you can see the data which is already there in obj1. So you can see that these values are already there. Index 0 have an integer value, then first index have character value, then we have string, and the fourth one have the double value. You can also see the size equal to 5. This is just internal information. Now when you say F6, now I value, if you see, I value is right now 0, so it will return you get 0. Okay, and if I run this code again, I value changed to 1. You can see in this yellow color. So when I say get of 1, it will return me second value. So like this for loop will work, and it will return you all these values. And now since we have all the 5 values, it is coming out of for loop, and it will terminate our program. It's quite easy. Now this is one way. Second way, using enhanced for loop. See, personally I use enhanced for loop because I don't have to worry about the size and other stuff. So if I run this code again, I will say get of 1. It will return 1. If I run this code again, I value changed to 1. You can see in this yellow color. So when I say get of 1, it will return me second value. So like this for loop will work, and it will return you all these values. And now since we have all the 5 values, it is coming out of for loop, and it will terminate our program. I will also recommend you to go with enhanced for loop, but if you're comfortable with this loop also, it's perfectly fine, because at the end of the day we need the data which we are already getting from normal for loop as well. So enhanced for loop is nothing but you don't have to provide the size here. You just have to type for which kind of value you want to accept. So as we know, we are accepting everything as an object. So here I will type object, a dummy variable. So let me say ABC and colon, and which list you want to iterate. I want to iterate obj1. That's all. So how it will work, it will automatically take or calculate the size of this obj1. Each time it will take the first value, it will assign to ABC, and which we can use here. I will say values are ABC. Now if I right click, run as, same data, same result. If you want debug point, let's put a debug breakpoint and let's check. So till now we have everything in obj1. When I say, okay, so you can see now ABC have the values. So it will automatically take the first value from obj1 or list, it will assign into ABC, and then we can iterate. And now our list is empty, so it will come out of this enhanced for loop. Right. So if you are comfortable with enhanced for loop, go with enhanced for loop. The last one, which is very important, called Iterator. So when this collection topic introduced, they also created one Iterator interface for this. Okay, so that interface will be responsible to iterate all the values from this list, and it will keep returning the value. Okay, so in order to work with that iterator, you just have to assign that iterator. So if you say obj1 dot iterator, so you can see the definition of this, it will return you an iterator over the element in the list in proper sequence. So when you say iterator, iterator is nothing but a separate interface which is also coming from java.util. So make sure you are taking only from java.util. By mistake I have taken from some other package. You need to take iterator from java.util. You can see iterator we have in some groovy JavaScript, in some sync package and other, but you have to take from java.util. Let's say it's iterator, so I will write itr. Now this iterator will be responsible to iterate your list. Well, whatever you are doing with iterator, it can be done using enhanced for loop as well, but let's see how this works. So first of all, you need to call one method called hasNext. What it returns, as the signature says, it will return you boolean value. So it will check your list first of all. If your list have some values, it will return you true and false. So I will keep this in while loop. So it will keep iterating the value until my list is not full, or until we are not getting all the values. So each time I will call one next method. Next method, as the name suggests, it will return me the element and it will automatically increment by 1. So this will return you next element in the iteration. So I will say value, and I can provide the value here. Now if you try to debug this, it also works in the same manner. First of all, has next. Okay, we have not run in the debug mode. Okay, obj1 is ready. Then we have done iterator. So iterator is also ready. And now important thing, if you go a little bit in depth, right now cursor is on position number 0. It means it will point to the first element, and it is checking whether this list which we have assigned has some value, so definitely yes, it will go inside this for loop, sorry, while loop, and it will take the next value. So it took the value and it's stored in this variable. Now automatically it will move to this next method, will increment the cursor by 1. So now it will again check, it has some value, yes, we have more values. It will go inside this, it will get you the value and it will print. So it will keep incrementing that cursor by 1, and once you get the last value, which is 12.34, now it will check whether this list has some value. Definitely not. It will come out of this while loop. So Iterator is an interface which only takes care about the iteration part. Nothing else. It will not help you to do any manipulation or any kind of other operations. It will only help you to iterate the values. Now I have only given you like add and get, but in case if you want to learn more about the list, you can also try some other operations. But from Selenium point of view, we need some add and get method only. If you want to explain more, you can also explore this to array, replace, remove, and other methods as well. Now if you see, till now we have written 4 programs, and in all these 4 programs we are getting this warning. So if you notice, Java says this array list is a raw type. Okay, so try to give some generics so that we can understand which kind of array list it is. So now let's come back to the point, what is generics? So till now if you see the point number 1 which we have covered, so Java new generics, it will allow you to have only one type of object in the collection. So it will be very safe for us when we do the type casting. So till now we have used this way, ArrayList obj1 equal to new ArrayList, but the Java suggests you can create ArrayList of a specific type. Okay, it will help us to store the values with less memory. So in generic collection we have to specify the type in the angular brackets, angular braces. So it will allow the ArrayList to force only a specific type of object. So if you create ArrayList of a string, you can only store string kind of value. If you give ArrayList of integer, it will only allow you integer kind of value. Okay, so let's see how this works. Let me create one more class and I will say ArrayList demo 5. And I will tell you why we should go with generics. So let me remove this first of all. Not required. I will start from scratch. So whenever you say ArrayList, Java itself will force you to use generics. It will by default give you this generics. So you can say, okay, I will use string kind of values only, and when we create, it will automatically take your generic. Now if you say obj1 dot add, you can see now it is asking you give me only string. So if I give here Mukesh, it will accept. If I give obj1 dot add, I will say Selenium, and let's say one more value, obj1 dot add hpqtp. Now if I try to add any other value, it will say, let's say I want to add 12. Definitely it will throw error, and if you put mouse over, it says the method add, it's not applicable with integer. You have to provide only the string. And now it is not giving you any error warning because we have used the generic ArrayList. Now you should have one question in mind, then what is the difference? Yes, now we have limited the type, but still the main concern was the size, right? The data is growing dynamically, we should have the ArrayList dynamic in nature. It was giving warning here because every time it will consider as an object, so it has to take the max amount of memory, which might occur, like which might create some problem in future if you have huge amount of data. So now we have very specific that every data type will have a certain range, right? So it will only occupy that memory. Now we use generics in Selenium as well. So I will show you a small program where you will understand where we have used this in Selenium. So rest everything is same. You can write a enhanced for loop and it will return you the value. So this time, since we have string every time, I don't have to specify object. I will type every time it will return a string kind of value. So I will pass the list here, which is nothing but obj1, and let's take one variable called v. So it will take value use it. You can see here. So this is ArrayList with generics, and this is how we use in Selenium. Now if you go back to the previous slide, I showed you this particular diagram, right? So now ArrayList implements list interface, and list also extend collection interface. So this is a little bit advanced. If you're not getting it, it's fine, but I will suggest just put some more focus on this side, because this will help you to understand how internally this hierarchy works. So now if you have gone through my interface video, I discussed a couple of scenarios, right? Base class reference, base class object, parent class reference, and remaining two scenarios. So if I work in the same manner, if I just type list here, which is nothing but the parent of ArrayList, import list from Java, you will get all the methods of list interface, not ArrayList. Okay, just try to understand. If you use child class object but parent class reference, you will be able to call only the parent class methods, which is add, delete, add, remove, get. In a similar way, if you just use collection here, you can only use collection class methods. Now let me show you. If I take collection, this is little bit depth topic. So if I say obj1 dot, you will see we have very less methods because we have limited method in collection. Some methods are coming from collection and some are coming from object class. Now if I change this to list, now you will see the method size will increase. Now we'll have some more methods. You can see some are coming from collection, some are coming from object, and some are from the list interface. Now if I change into ArrayList, you will see the size will grow again. You will have many more methods, which is actually used, which we can use for the development purpose as well. So we use ArrayList, we use list also in Java, but we don't use collection. If you want, you can use, but I have not used personally in any of my scripts. I have used list, and I'm going to show you how you can use this list concept. Okay, so if I go back and create a separate class, I will say WebDriver list example. If I create reference of WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver, and if I say driver dot get find element, you can see, right, it will provide you list of web elements. If you put mouse over here, list of web elements. Since let's say if you have given anchor tag here, so definitely it will find all the anchor link or or images, whatever XPath you will provide. So it will return you as a list of web elements, then we can iterate. It will not return you array list, it will return you list. In a similar way, if you go with select class, select cell equal to new select, just give me a minute, this is just a dummy code, cell dot get. Yeah, so you can see when I say get all options, it will return a list of web elements. When I say get options, it will return a list of web elements again. So list of web elements we are going to use. Once you get the list, you can use again iterator or enhanced for loop or normal for loop. We also use set, we also use map in Selenium, so we'll see one by one. So as of now, these all are the ways to create list, maintain the list, and to retrieve the list. Hope this concept is clear. If not, you can also explore more about ArrayList, different methods. Okay, so that's all I have for in this video. So please like, share, subscribe, and support. And if you have any doubt related to collection or any other topic, feel free to drop an email to Mukesh Otwani at learn-automation.com. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. See you in the next video.